Hello and salutations, it's me, Salty, here I'm going to the 2 Cents Toys review, and today we're talking about the Marvel Legends Vintage Collection Silver Samurai. And I picked this up at my local GameStop, and you can too, for $22.95 before tax. Now, I had to pre-order him like I did the rest of them so far, because Marvel Legends are hard to find in my area, and the good ones go so quickly. Now, this will be the last one of this line that I review for a while, because I'm still waiting for Storm to come in, so is everybody. Now, looking at the card back, you'll see that it's very reminiscent of the 90s Toy Biz animated series toy line, where the villains typically got a purplish green card back and the heroes got a yellowish orange card back. It was really nice to be able to differentiate when you were looking for them. Like, just on the peg you could see purple for villains, so if you're looking for a villain you knew where they were. Looking on the back though, you'll see who all we have in this line. We got Storm, Wolverine, Dazzler, Iceman, Silver Samurai of course, and Cyclops. We also have a small read-up of Samurai over there. Trust me, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about him than the card back will. Before I do any of that, I have a quick theory, because some people that I know personally have asked me about why is it we got Silver Samurai when he wasn't in the first line of figures to come out, because the first were Cyclops, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Storm, Archangel, Wolverine, Magneto, Apocalypse, and Juggernaut. Well, here's my answer for you. We got Magneto already in the Family Matters 3-pack from Amazon. The Juggernaut, he's coming out probably within a couple of weeks at the time of this recording with the Colossus 2-pack, so that also knocks out the Colossus from that line. And as for Apocalypse, we got him as a Build-A-Figure, and while that Apocalypse does look significantly different from the original Apocalypse, it's the one we've got for right now. Also, we were due for an update with the Silver Samurai. The last one I can remember is from the 90s Toy Biz line, basically animated series, and I had that one as a kid, and while it was cool to have Silver Samurai, he was vac metalized, which was great. His pauldrons were attached to his helmet, and they rested on his shoulders, so whenever he raised his arms, they couldn't go up past the pauldrons, or else it would raise the shoulder armor and the helmet up off his head. And then his knees were the only articulation he had in his legs. Because of his iron skirt, he couldn't move his legs. I don't even remember if he had legs. I don't think he did. I think all he had were those little knee joints. And because he was vac metalized, that meant that the paint was prone to flaking off. He also had no articulation in his arms either. Anyway, I'm going to give you some background on Silver Samurai. So, he first appeared in Daredevil 111, that's 111, in 1974. He was created by Steve Gerber and Bob Brown. And so his power is that he can generate a tachyon field. Now, tachyons are theoretical particles that can travel faster than light. Because of that, his sword has the ability to cut through basically anything except adamantium. Now, another sort of power that he has is that he can teleport, but it's not necessarily a power that he has, it's something he's granted via technology, usually a ring or some other device. Now, he's been in various different forms of media. He's been in comic books, of course. He's been in the animated series, which is where I know him from. And then he was portrayed in the films, but we won't talk about that. Now, throughout his tenure, he's also been a hero, at one point being part of the Big Hero 6 team, and then he reverted back to being a villain. And then ultimately he died and his son picked up the mantle, Silver Samurai, in 2012. We won't go into him. Anyway, I think I've taken up enough of your time doing all this background and all this information, so we're going to hop into the review right now. We have finally arrived at the point in this video where I review Silver Samurai. Thank you for sticking this long. You might have noticed this did not come in the packaging. This is actually from Psylocke. I just put it on his katana to try and emulate his mutant power. And it does the trick. It works, it fits, but I'll take it off for the rest of this review. So, in the package, we get his katana and his wakizashi, and his grips are very tight, so once they're in there, they're in there. They're not falling out, they're not even budging, they're going nowhere. That being said, the katana and the wakizashi are molded in this kind of silverish metal color, and the handles are painted so that in and out, in and out, in and out on the hand is eventually going to rub the paint off of this. So let me go ahead and pull these out, because you can really only, the way the fingers are curled, you can really only shove them to the top and the bottom of the hand. You can't curl them past the thumb into the fingers. Now, I've also taken out my katanas that came with my Amazing Yamaguchi Deadpool, and I have taken a chrome pen to these, and they fit a lot easier into his hands. They slide right in. There's not a whole lot of work to be done, but as you can see, the katana that came with him is much longer, and scales better with his body. Articulation. Head can't go back at all, barely goes forward, almost no tilt, and little to no shifting, so not a whole lot of articulation in the head. Because of the pauldrons, the shoulder can only come up that far, and it can go back that far. However, when it comes up, you can spin the bicep 360 with a bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, wrist swivel, and in both wrists we get the hinge going down and hinge coming up, which is nice, so when he holds a sword, he can point it out. It's really nice. Dumbbell joint goes forward, back, side to side, swivel, kick forward, kick back, kick out very far, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, boot swivel, ankle goes back, goes forward, forward facing pin for rocker. So that's the articulation for Silver Samurai. Now his katana and wakizachi have a little place to hang out if you're not going to use them. They slide in relatively well. There's not enough room for them to both really go without the hilts kind of running into each other there, but it does the job, keeps them out of the way, gives you a place to store them. Now for sculpt, even though we sacrificed a little in articulation, I love the sculpt on this. I love these little ropes here that tie all of his plates together. They're sculpted in, they're painted. I love that. It's awesome. The plate armor itself is fantastic. The sculpt on the helmet is fantastic. I love it. Like, the sculpt overall was great. I wish that they had cast these armor parts in a darker silver to go along with the rest of the armor. But with sculpt, the only thing I have to complain about is the face, which it's hard to see. You can see his right eye pretty well, but his left eye not so much. The nose guard of the face mask of his helmet is a little too high, or it sits a little too high on his head. It kind of blocks his line of sight. Like, he wouldn't be able to see down at all without tilting his head down, and he can't tilt his head down in this figure. So that would be one improvement I would make. Also, the biceps are a little gummy. I have a lot of gappage. I don't know if you can see that very well or not, but I have a lot of gappage here, and down here in the boot swivel on his left leg I have some gapping. One more improvement I would make, you'll notice that he kind of has a problem. I think I've heard about it somewhere before. Yeah, you guessed it. That's as far as his arms go down for the articulation. He can't, like, vanilla pose them. You can turn the biceps and do that. That'd be the closest you get, but he's still carrying these invisible suitcases. Overall, though, is this figure worth it? In my opinion, absolutely. This is the Silver Samurai that I would have wanted as a kid. You know, overall, I had this figure out of the package and, you know, posing him around a little bit. And as you can see in these photos, my imagination went wild anyway. Like, it was awesome to have him. Even if you don't want Silver Samurai, or you don't have any, like, attachment to the character, he's still a great, like, generic samurai figure. Much like how the Black Knight was in the Call Obsidian wave, he can fit into just about really any diorama or display you might have. If you have the chance, I would highly recommend this figure, especially at $20 to $25 price point, roughly. I think he's great. The limited articulation in the head and neck is disappointing, especially when the helmet sits a little high on his head and kind of messes up his line of sight. I'm very happy with this figure. It's my favorite one out of the vintage collection so far. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Follow us on social media over at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And thanks for stopping by. Until I see you next time, I'm Salty, signing off.